First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on, YouTube? It's Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody is staying safe. Hope the week is off to a good start for everybody. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I need to say up front. In this video, I'll have an announcement. I'll get to that in a little bit regarding season 3 of Big Nate Talk Podcast. Excuse me. I do apologize if the recent episodes haven't been put up. Please forgive me. It's kind of been a crazy week transitioning, since the world's starting to open up and, we have to go back to the office and start working again instead of working from home. Please forgive me. Just be patient with me. I hope to have those up by Friday for you. I appreciate the support that I have been getting on the channel. We are close. We're 10 subscribers away from 100. My goal to reach, but I would like to reach 1,000 by the end of the year. So again, please do share the podcast. Continue to support me. I appreciate the love that I've been getting, all the feedback I've been getting on the channel. I really do appreciate it. It's much love. Earlier today, I was on Sean Spencer's fantasy football live draft. That was great. I want to give a shout out to those guys. It was great doing that with them. But before we get into the show itself, let me take this opportunity to just take a moment to pray for those that have been affected by Hurricane Ida, particularly those in New Orleans, Louisiana. 750,000 people without power. I believe like the next 10 days it's going to be a heat wave. They can't use AC, can't use running water. Can't flush the toilet, can't do any of those things. And I'm really kind of surprised that it really hasn't been talked about on the mainstream media. This time, it's not like Katrina in the sense where, you had the levees. From what I understand, most of the levees held, according to the research that I did. This one was just stronger. This one, she just came in and did a lot of damage. Supposedly there was like a oil spill, I think in the Gulf of Mexico from Ida. There's an aerial photo of that. But Ida has made its way from down there up here through the Appalachians, Maryland, going to New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, parts of Virginia, in Annapolis. Not too far from that, in Annapolis, there was a tornado that touched down, and I'm thinking it was an F1, maybe F2. Prayers for those that were affected, that had been affected. I thank God. So I understand no one's gotten hurt so far. I pray that no one is seriously injured. And again in Delaware. That rainwater, when it rains, man, roads flood, electricity, different things like that. New York, just like Hurricane Sandy with New York a few years ago. Let's just continue just to pray for one another, pray for those that have been affected. And, I got to give a shout out to a couple people real quick. I saw a live with Rock Just Living. It's good to see that it's good to know that her and her family are doing well, and a couple other people down there. It's just, oh man, it's crazy. The day, count our blessings, and just take it one day at a time. So, with that being said, as we get away from that, I wanted to start it off with that, but season 3, as you have seen the title of this video. Season 3 will start week 1 of the NFL season. This is the last episode for season 2 of Big Nate Talk Podcast. I was a little surprised I actually went 15 episodes. Last season I went with 22. Um, but the network only allotted me for 15 seasons. They wanted me to go on season 3. They liked what I was doing. So my producers, I want to give a shout out to my producers. I got to give a shout out to Stephen A. Smith. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I can't believe, we're now going into season number 3 for the podcast. Again, when I did this a few months ago, I didn't think it would take off the way I would think it would. Really, honestly, this channel, ever since the pandemic has started. So, this is what I love to do. This is why I chose the major in college, mass communications and journalism and media. And again, I love to talk sports. I love to talk about social things, social politics, different things like that. So season 3 will be debuting for the Cowboys versus the Buccaneers, week 1. So can't wait for season 3. So let's get into the video. Who is this? Okay, this is obviously. I don't know what to really feel or what to really say. So this is a ghost high school, from what I'm understanding. ESPN. See, this is where you lose me, and I'm gonna leave the urinating tree. On Twitter, he did a very, very thread about this ghost high school. So their first game of the season, they played IGM Academy. I'm reading this article. They got embarrassed, 58-0. And I'm trying to figure out how ESPN was duped into televising this game. So the head coach for Bishop Sycamore, his name is Roy Johnson. Okay. He has an active arrest warrant, and he's facing a civil lawsuit for alleged fraud. Now, there is somebody by the name of Andre Peterson, who's the founder director of the school and assistant coach, made this choice after the game. Now, I had to do, at my Googles, and I'm trying to look for a school's website. I'm trying to look for everything. The closest thing that I saw is a Twitter page that's nothing. They have a tweet there saying seeking opponent for week 5 and 8. DM us. Now, a few schools, DeMatha Catholic, Duncanville, Liberty, and Johnson Central, I believe are all Texas schools. They have canceled their games with this school, according to Max Preps. I had to look that up. And apparently, the one besides ESPN, who we should be, instead of really jumping on ESPN, we should be going at Paragon. Paragon is an online marketing group, and they got the schedule for this game, not ESPN. And there's just really no. I can't really explain this. Like, I'm reading this article, and from what I read, the school went 0-6 last year. Okay, they played a game 2 days before the ESPN game, and they got their butt kicked. That last year, they scored only 42 points, and they gave up 227 points. Now, most of their players are Joku, junior, like going to community college. They're over 19. Some of them are over 19 and over. We couldn't, at ESPN, this is what it said, ESPN couldn't verify any of the players and their scouting database. And I'm reading this off the Urinating Trees Twitter page. At least one player used a fake name and lied about recruiting. They even had when you give the TV guys the roster, it wasn't really a accurate or complete roster. They have a GoFundMe page, and they only got $140. They want to make $20. What about education? What's the system? There's no home stadium, no website, and they have a phone line that goes to mailbox. But they played good high schools. When do we really start looking at, how did it even get to this point? Because I'll give you an example. There was a college, I want to say it was in Iowa, and it turned out to be a scam. It was called Ronald Reagan International University. And it doesn't exist anymore because they found it supposedly under the previous the Secretary of Education in the past administration, that somehow slipped under the rug. I mean, they even said to the point where the president of this college had a fake PhD, wasn't real. Students trying to register for classes had a hard time. I even did a little research. The website doesn't exist anymore. I took it down. And when you walked into the room, the building, nothing. It was basically a paper trail. And it's just like, wow, like this is what this is what we're doing. Come on, man. Like we are better than this. And the fact that they got away with this, there has to be some type of consequence. Because I'm sitting there going like, what? And ESPN in that marketing group really, honestly, truthfully, should be really ashamed of itself. Because I don't know how they were duped into even marketing this game to get blown up to 58-0. It's all a joke. And those that are involved in this should be ashamed of themselves. But I'm going to step away from that and move on to something that's more relevant. We're going to talk about some football. So, the Washington football team's official 53-man roster has been released. Just for the record, let me say this. I'm hurt. No, I'm just kidding. I was not surprised looking at this roster. Some of the predictions I made weren't even close. So, this is who made the Washington football team. Offensively, we got Ryan Fitzmagic, Tyler Heineke, Kyle Allen, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Cam Simmons, Adam Humphries, De'Ami Brown, Dax Milliner, DeAndre Carter, Logan Thomas, John Bates, Sammy Reyes, Ricky Seals-Jones, Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKenzie, Jarrett Patterson, Charles Leno Jr., Eric Flowers, Chase Roellier, Brandon Sheriff, Sam Cosby, Cornelius Lucas, Wes Schultzer, Sadiq Charles, Tyler Larson. I say for the most part, my list was accurate. The only thing I didn't have Ricky Seals-Jones making the team. I did say that Sammy Reyes was going to make the team for Washington. So Sean Spencer, Abs, those from Washington Football Weekly. If you're listening and you get a chance to watch this, I want. That's okay. I'm gonna leave it alone. But for the most part, I like this defense. I like the fact they're going in there with non-offensive linemen. I like Sam Cosmi. He should be starting. Eric Flowers has proven he's the left tackle for this job, the starting left tackle. If and at some point Brandon Sheriff doesn't come back, Wes Seltzer will probably be starting right guard next season. Defensive line: Jonathan Allen, Darren Payne, Matt Leonis, Tim Settle, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, James Smith Williams, Casey Hill, Shaka Tony, Jamin Davis, John Bosick, Cole Holcomb, Khalik Hudson, Kendall Fuller, William Jackson III, Benjamin St. Just, Torrey McTire, Troy Apich, Daryl Roberts, Landon Collins, Bobby McCain, Deshaun Everett, Cameron Curl, Derek Forrest, Dustin Hopkins, Tressway, and Cameron Cheeseman. So, for the most part, the only thing that stood out was I knew Steven Montez was not going to make the team. I had AGG making the team, and that failed. I got that wrong. I had Wes Martin making the team. Who else stood out? William Bradley King, I had him making the team. Jeremy Reeves, I had him making the team. I think David Baba is going to injury exemption. I'm looking at my list from last week that I did. But I mean, for the most part, I'd say this was a pretty fair, accurate roster. I think my predictions were fair, and honestly, truthfully, I liked them. So, I mean, the fact that they cut 27 players to get to 53. I mean, again, it's not over. Again, like I said, I'd say the biggest one that stood out to me more on the defensive side was Jimmy Moreland. But again, it was just so much competition at the corner spot, and it's tough, man. It's tough. So that's the Washington football team's roster, 53-man roster. Again, like I wasn't surprised by Jared Patterson. He showed enough in camp and in preseason. AGG, again with injuries, I felt like he looked like the best wide receiver this preseason. But again, competition was tough. I feel like he can make the practice squad if it can happen. So, congratulations to those that made the roster. Baltimore. All right, so let's start with this. Baltimore made a lot of cuts. So, Devontae Harris, Aaron Adoye, Eli Wolf, Johnny Townsend, Jordan Richards, Andre Smith, Michael Durez, Kenji Barha, Devin Gray, COC Mariner, Michael Schofield, Ben Mason, Deion Kane, Eric Tomlinson, Tony Polligan, Justin Ellis, Nigel Warrior, Chris Smith, Jake Verity, Nate McQuarrie, Trace McSorley, Anthony Levine Sr., Pernell McPhee, Adrian Early, Foster Sorrow, Jalen Moore, Benjamin Victor, Aaron Crawford, Javon Swan, and Arturo Alaka. Now, there's a couple of trades we did make. We traded Sean Wade to the Patriots. We traded Greg Manses to the Miami Dolphins. And we traded Ben Breeson to the New York Giants. Now, quick point. J.K. Dobbins, before he made that roster, got hurt. So Amon Marshall, Khalil Dorsey, L.J. Ford, and J.K. are all on the injured reserve. Let me just start off with saying this. John Harbaugh, I doubt you'll ever see this video. Can we please, Eric DeCosta, can we please stop drafting players from University of Michigan? I mean, like, why Ben Breeson, Ben Mason are gone? Like, why do we keep doing that? We keep drafting players from Michigan, and it just doesn't. And they don't either make the team or they don't pan out. That's just me. Couple things. I don't think the Ravens will regret cutting Justin Ellis. I like Justin Ellis, but again, when you are competing with Brandon Williams and then I think they're confident with the defensive line they have. Yes, we're going in the season with 5. I mean, 7 years of experience, yes, does matter, but I mean, he was our best backup nose tackle after Aaron Crawford got cut. But I think we'll be all right without Justin Ellis. Nigel Warrior, that stood out to me. Again, when you have Geno Stone, Darius Washington, Chris Westry, it's tough. Competition for there was tough, and I thought he was going to make the team based on his versatility and size and his ability as a ball hawk, in my opinion. But somebody had to go. Najee Warrior did get claimed off waivers as well. The running backs. Let me just say this. I think Todd Gurley, I know he's not the same running back he was a few years ago. And I think that us signing him, I don't really see that going anywhere. I don't think it would work. I mean, for sure. But, I mean, there's other guys that are still looking for jobs. Adrian Peterson, Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy, Jordan Howard, Peyton Barber, Devontae Freeman, Wayne Gilliman, and also John Kelly. They all got cut as well. Again, let me just say this. You got Gus Edwards, who I think is definitely going to have a big year. He's going to step up behind now that JK's out. Justice Hill got really lucky. He and Miles Boykin really lucky to make this team. They got Tyshawn Williams. I would have preferred Nate McQuarrie and Tyshawn Williams making the team over Justice Hill. That's just my opinion. I didn't like that. Trace McSorley getting cut. I think Baltimore going into the season with 2 quarterbacks. It makes more sense. Again, they had really great. I mean, Huntley had a great preseason, and unfortunately, McSorley went down with a back problem. And if you look at it, Huntley is more better in our system than McSorley. That's just a fact. And I mean, for sure, McSorley could be the 3rd string quarterback, but McSorley he'll be in our practice squad. He'll be in our practice squad. So I'm not too concerned about it. Miles Boykin stood out to me. Most likely he will be on the injury reserve list, but when you have Poche, Duvernay, Deion Kane, you're fighting for a spot, guy. And again, these 2 years of Baltimore, he has not lived up to expectations. He's not. 464 yards, 7 touchdowns on 55 targets. Yes, he was the 4th most targeted player. And yes, he did contribute. And I was expecting a lot this preseason, and didn't see that. Now, with Sammy Watkins here only for a year, I'm really curious to kind of see where that'll go for next year. But at the end of the day, those were the biggest standouts. So Baltimore, I would like to see them kind of address the pass rushing of just a little bit more. Outside linebacker, I would like to see that. I would really like to see that some more. So that's your 53-man rosters for both teams. I can't wait to see what these guys look like on the field. We're going to transition real quick into around the NFL news. I'm going to start with Cam Newton. Cam Newton was cut by the New England Patriots, and I feel like this needs to be said. You know, Cam Newton is a great player. Cam Newton is coming out of Auburn. I felt like he was born to be a star in this game. You know, the last few years have been telling. I thought the way they did him dirty, especially his last couple years in Carolina, you know, breaking up that team. I felt like the way he was after the Super Bowl loss against Denver, I thought that was telling. I thought he could have handled that situation better. He was never going to be the starter in New England. He was just a placeholder. He was asked to do. He did just enough so they could get Mac Jones. Mac Jones, ladies and gentlemen, is Tom Brady. Is he's the future. He's the face of this franchise for New England. Now that Tom Brady's not there, I mean, think about it. It really bothered me that you had a lot of these guys last year, and I understand because of COVID, a lot of these guys don't play. Now all of a sudden they come back. Oh, we're going to play with Matt. Now Cam Newton also has to take some responsibility in this as well, because I think the biggest elephant in the room, and nobody really wants to say it, but COVID. I don't know if he had it. I'm not going to make that assumption. But the fact that he and the New England Patriots management was they're very angry with him about not knowing about the rules, because he's been very staunch about not getting the vaccine. So he missed 3 straight days of practice. And in the meantime, who was in practice? Mac Jones. That matters. Also, too, let's call it what it is. Cam Newton didn't really have a great season last year. I mean, let me pull his stats up real quick. I'm not dogging him. I'm simply looking at the facts. I mean, he threw 10 touchdowns. I mean, 10 interceptions. He threw 8 touchdowns. And some of those games, he didn't have. I don't even think he didn't even have over 100 yards passing. Let's look. He played in 15 games. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I apologize. He had over 2,000. It's just not the same quarterback. I mean, him throwing it into the turf. Again, not really having the talent, that also mattered. But Bill Belichick, I would like to know the conversation that was had between him and Cam, because I'm pretty sure he would have liked to have kept Cam. Well, we like to keep it as a backup, because you got to ask yourself. You look around all 32 NFL teams. Who's got a job available to be a starter? Cam Newton may have to go the Carmelo Anthony route, where he might have let his pride go. I mean, unfortunately, this is just my opinion. As men, some of us we don't like let our pride go. we keep going, well, no, I still think I can do this, I can do that. Carmelo Anthony, for example, because I just brought him up. After the debacle in New York, where management and ownership ruined that, he went to Oklahoma City. That did not work. I don't care what anyone has to say. It didn't work. When you're playing alongside Russell Westbrook and Paul George, two ball dominant guards, it ain't going to work. Houston, you only lasted 10 games. And it really bothered me, and I found it really, and no one really called this out. Chris Paul, you, LeBron, D. Wade, Melo are all best friends. Why did you not fight for Carmelo to stay in Houston? That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm like, wait a minute, aren't they best friends? Shouldn't he have fought? I know James Harden probably didn't want to, but Chris Paul, what did Carmelo Anthony do? I mean, to the point where he's on first take with Stephen A., like having basically like an intervention. Carmelo Anthony goes to Portland. Look what happens. Comes off the bench, looking at more in a better revised role, and he's accepted that. Cam Newton's may have to accept that role. Now I see a couple teams that can use his services. I'm looking at Indianapolis, because Carson Wentz is probably going to be out for the next 5 to 12 weeks. I'm looking at Dallas to hear where Dak may have to play through injuries all year. That is ridiculous. I'm not going to put my new best investment at risk to get hurt again. Houston, we'll see. But I think the whole thing with Deshaun Watson, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Baltimore, we don't need another back. We don't need a quarterback. We're fine. I saw some people say, well, Baltimore should sign Cam Newton. That's never going to happen. And also, too, Cam Newton did not do enough to separate himself from Mac Jones in the preseason. He didn't do enough. So I think for some people to really kind of keep bringing it up and acting like, oh my gosh, it's in the row. How could they cut Cam Newton? I mean, it's preseason. Excuse me. I've had conversations about this. Preseason training camp is all about how do you establish yourself? What makes you stand out from the others? Now, coming into this season, was the job Cam Newton's or was it Mac Jones' job to take? Was Mac Jones, when he was drafted, was Mac Jones the instant starter or was it Cam Newton? Was Cam Newton was he going to be the placeholder? Or was he going to until Mac Jones was ready? And I said no. Mac Jones was going to be the starter from day one. Cam may have probably started maybe 1 or 2 games and then it'll be Mac. No. Because this team they got built for Mac Jones, I hate to say it, but they're putting pressure on him. He's got to come out and he's got to win. Now, speaking of New England Patriots, some things were said by Mr. Asante Samuel, saying that Bill Belichick is just another coach. It's a clip. I'm going to play that. See what he got to say.
Ultimately, do you think Bill decided to release Cam and move on to the rookie?
Well, first and foremost, let me say, Patriots Nation, I love y'all. There's no beef with me and Belichick. I am just a competitor at my heart. Everything I do, it seems like it's just a competition. And second of all, okay, to answer your question, my tweet had nothing to do with the release. I was just speaking in general of Belichick and how he operates. You know what I mean? So they took that and ran with it. So, but we can go with that. You know.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously you made some news with that. So let's get.
Can I just?
Yeah.
I just want to back up. When you say you're just a competitor, you mean that when the issue of Brady and Belichick comes up, you're competitive and want to create a hierarchy, you want to rank them, you want to pit them against each. Is that what you mean by you're just a competitor?
I'm glad you called it. I'm glad you brought it up. Exactly. So in my head, being that I've been a part of the situation, played for the Patriots. I was there young with Tom and everything. In my head, this is a competition between Tom Brady and Belichick. Tom Brady has already showed that he can win wherever he goes, through adversity, through a pandemic, getting kicked off of fields, barely even having any practice. I didn't expect him to win the Super Bowl, and he won the Super Bowl. So now what I'm saying is anybody can coach Tom and win a Super Bowl. So now you have to show, if you, in my eyes, in my competitive head, in order to be great, in my opinion, you have to show that you can do that without that person. You know what I mean? So that's where
Question. I have a question for Asante Samuel. So, I mean, I know we're talking football, but I'm pretty sure that we can also make this argument could also go into basketball too. So, Tim Duncan, arguably one of the best power forwards of this generation. Without Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, actually, back up. Without Greg Popovich, what is Tim Duncan? Is Tim Duncan just another great player? What about Michael and Scotty without Phil? Kobe and Shaq? Bill Russell? I'll look at baseball, for example. The great Sparky Anderson, Earl Weaver, Frank Robinson. Are they just the teams that play? Are they just good? Are they just great because of the system, or does coaching matter?
That's what I mean in my competitive head.
No, and I feel that, Asante, and I'm with you, like the competitive piece. But in the tweet, you said, man, he's just another coach. Like that's a big statement. So explain to us a little bit more, because you proved, like Tom Brady did prove it. He went with Tampa Bay, and he had Bruce Arians, and he had a team around him, and he won. Bill Belichick, they didn't make the playoffs last year. So tell us more about, like you said, man, just another coach. Like, tell us more.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. What I said. He hasn't showed that he is a great coach to me, because he had the greatest player of all time. So your history, anybody with opinion with no basis and no facts are just people talking. So when you throw out opinions, you have to have some type of basis or some type of facts to back it up. So,
okay, what about this, Asante, in terms of the facts? Because I hear everything you're saying, and I was one of those people, oh, it's Belichick, and I'm like, oh, man, well, hold on, time out. Maybe I was wrong all those years. It's Brady. I thought this was a coach's league, right? But he's a two-time champion as a defensive coordinator, Belichick. Without Brady and with Matt Castle, who never did anything again in the NFL, really, he won 11 games, 10 of them with Matt Castle that year. And last year, in a COVID season with all that, 9 guys opting out because of COVID, no offense, that's on him, but as a GM, really, right? He didn't have the pieces around him. New quarterback who then got COVID. He came 2 plays away from going 9-7, did win 7 games. Like that. In other words, all the things I just said to you make him just another coach. Doesn't that show something?
It shows a little bit. Like I said, we're talking about the word great here. I think people use the word great and throws it around like it's just another word. To be great, you have to do some special things, in my opinion. And you can't just do it with one situation at one team. And it's history, okay?
Okay. So he had a good point. He made a great point, because I've had this conversation with numerous friends. I don't do that GOAT talk stuff, greatest of all time. I don't do that. I go by greatest of each generation, because each generation has had a different impact on sports. When I look at Michael Jordan did something, won 6 rings with the same team. I can't really say, as great as LeBron James is, okay, he left Cleveland to go to Miami to win a ring. Went back to Cleveland and won a ring. goes to LA to win a ring. Like, championships don't define your legacy, in my personal opinion. It's your body of work. Now, let's keep in mind, the year that they went, I want to say it was a 16-0. I don't think Tom Brady played. Tom Brady was out for the season. Matt Cat was not that year. I think it was the year when I forgot what year when Matt Castle was starting. Matt Castle actually didn't have did well in the absence of Tom Brady. So say what you want, but because Tom Brady, yes, but you also have to think about this. Tom Brady the last couple of years didn't have talent. I'm talking about he didn't have, besides Gronkowski and Edelman, who did he have to also throw the ball to? N'Keal Henry? What about his running game? I like Sonny Mitchell, but I'm saying he goes to Tampa. He's got Big OJ. Rob Gronkowski comes out of retirement. He's got Mike Evans, Chris Goodwin, Antonio Brown. I mean, the list, Leonard Fournette. He's got pieces. I think that matters. Just saying.
Let's see the players he picked, his number one draft picks, his draft history. Let's see how those pan out. When he goes into free agent, spends a bunch of money. How does that pan out? The one time he did it for Tom Brady, the one time we go undefeated. You get the top, the Randy Mosses, the top receivers, and you finally surround Tom Brady with some talent.
But they still lost the Super Bowl.
You go undefeated. So what I'm saying is, you've been doing a disjustice to the New England Patriots family and the team by not surrounding us with us talent year in and year out, because he probably can go undefeated every year. But for some reason, you choose to always give him the low end of value talent.
What was your relationship like, Asante, when you were with New England for those seasons?
Oh, man, it was tough, man. It was, I'm a guy that,
and wears emotion on the
I'm a
sleeve.
stand-up guy. I don't fall for anything. I'm not a Duke boy. So, coaches like control. And when you can't control a player to do things how you want them to do it, it becomes an issue. As long as I was getting the job done, that's what I thought it was about. But sometimes when you're doing things, to have fun or, whatever you think is right, it becomes an issue. And you and the coach would bump heads a lot of the times. And I think that was my main issue.
No, definitely. And you have a point.
No, don't get it twisted. Me and Coach are fine. We cool. He's competitive like me, and I think he knows that. He sees that about me. He'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. And what you're saying, some people do think it's like, man, well, Brady did it, and it's a competition, so can Belichick do it as well? And this is a time where we get a chance to see. I want to transition a little bit to your son, because obviously a lot of people watched him at Florida State, and now he's
going to be a great player. I no disrespect to Asante Samuel Jr. I kind of want to get back to the talk about with Belichick. So again, great player. I like Asante Samuel Jr. He's going to be to me like he's a budding star. But I kind of want to stick with the Belichick talk
and help him be more successful. You know what I mean? So I think that was a good one.
Asante, I hear what you're saying about Coach, and you're just competitive, and he's the same way.
He's definitely going to learn from Jalen Ramsey, but more importantly, Aaron Donald and some other guy, and that Rams defense too. Brandon Staley, all of them. He's going to be in a great system.
And you guys are good. It sounds to me, I just got to be honest. It sounds to me like there's a little axe to grind. Like maybe just even when you talk about you want to have fun, and if you weren't doing it his way, you won Super Bowls, your Pro Bowl, like the whole thing. And yet it sounds to me like it's not just like you're not, whether or not you're being honest, I believe you're being honest, but like you have a certain feeling about it toward Coach. Am I right there? Is there an axe to grind about your time not being more fun there?
No, man, it is what it is. You have to see the history of this. I've been saying this since the playoff games with the Jets. I came out with an article about how I feel about what the coach is treating everybody and what they think.
I might know what he's alluding to, because at the time I think Bill Belichick was a GM, and the contract at the time that Asante Samuel signed, there was an issue with the incentives, and basically, Belichick is one of those guys. You have to earn it. And he really, he was saying to the point where he coached people to the point where they couldn't get the incentives, and I think that's why he may be coming up with these comments, in my opinion.
At the end of the day, this is the facts. I see everybody just throw around this greatness word, and I hate it. I hate people just throw greatness around like that. There should be standards to greatness. You can't just say somebody's great and they don't have the standards. I hate it. It drives me crazy. So that's what I'm saying. If I would have been at Patriots for 11 years and did 58 interceptions, all at the Patriots, what they would have said, he's a system player. He can't do it anywhere. So
that's not true. That's not true.
I did it everywhere I went. So that's what I'm trying to explain. So,
but also, too, it matters. We would have said he was a great player, regardless of it being a system player. Tim Duncan is arguably one of the best power forwards in the game of basketball, other than Kevin McHale. People will say, well, Tim Duncan's a system player. What about Larry Bird? One of the best small forwards in the game. LeBron James, okay, yeah, the first few years, okay, I understand. Yeah, he didn't have talent in Cleveland. But he went to Miami and won a ring. Went back to Cleveland, won a ring. Went to LA, won a ring. But I'm saying overall body of work. Yes, LeBron James, Asante Samuel, they've all done it. But it's more about what you did on that team. That matters. It doesn't matter if it's a system or not. Like, for example, right, Peyton Manning, when he was ousted from Indianapolis and went to Denver, some people thought, well, I don't know what he's going to look like. Came back, won a Super Bowl with them. So, again, body of work. Brett Favre almost led the Minnesota Vikings to the Super Bowl, but unfortunately was sent to the hospital in that bounty gate scandal with the Saints. So, I understand his argument, his point about, we're throwing around this GOAT stuff. I blame the media, but I also blame us. I blame some of the athletes and some of us too, because we're so quick to go, oh my gosh, when they talk about like LeBron and Michael Jordan, for example, they go, oh, LeBron's the GOAT. LeBron's done. First of all, they're two different players. And also, too, they put in two different eras. LeBron James may be argued, if you can make an argument and say he's responsible for the super team era, the start of it. Look. Can you say, this is a good question. Could LeBron James win with subpar talent if he didn't have D Wade, Bosh? Now look what he's got in LA. He's got a superstar team. And unfortunately, people go, well, look at the team last year, Nathan. He had injuries. Well, just listen to my point. Could he win with talent, not like Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard, Melo? I'm just giving examples. But also, too, again, it's all about overall body of work. Like, I'll use Simone Biles, for example. I think she's one of the best Olympian gymnastics in right now. But she's not, in my opinion, she's not the GOAT. She's the best of this generation. Because look, we gave her that title, and look what happened in the Olympics.
So you can't just be great off of one situation and then no. Let's hold some standards to greatness. Let's see how great you are without that number one guy.
Let's stay with that standard. When you were in New England, did you feel like you were playing for a great coach, and was he the greatest coach you've ever played for?
Well, I was learning everything. I was still learning. I was learning how to be a man. I hear all this media saying this and that, and when media says somebody great and they say somebody's the greatest, I go do my research. I don't just listen to y'all and say, yeah, he's the greatest. I'm not a dupe boy. So I have my own mind. I go do my research and I say, why is this person great?
It's kind of interesting he's avoiding the question.
What did they do that was so special to make them great? And then
who's a great coach, Asante? Who's a great coach? Who is a great coach?
I have to do my research.
So by his standard, right? And Sean, if Sean Spencer's watching, he managed it. So according to his standard, Joe Gibbs is arguably one of the best coaches in the game. I mean, I believe he coached 3 different teams and won 3 rings. So that qualifies as a great coach. So Greg Popovich, John Madden, Tom Landry, Tony Dungy. Oh my gosh, I could give you so many other names. So what classifies them as being one of the best coaches in the game in their sports respectively? Can you see how he's dodging the question?
Do my research and
I do my research.
I don't know, man. I just listen to you all say it, and then I go do my research. You know.
But you actually played for him when you were there in New England. Did you feel like I'm playing for? You were there 4 years. Did you feel like I'm playing for a great coach? Without research, just you being in the system, being in that locker room.
From what everybody was telling me, yes, yes, and yes, he's a great coach. He has some great some great things he do. You know what I mean? But to be that top tier great of how you guys have tried explaining it, in you guys' eyes, pretty much everybody that wins games is great. No, you can't be great. Like you know what I mean? So go ahead, talk to me, Sam.
Real quick. So I just want to know, because I hear everything you're saying. Without Tom Brady, do you think Bill Belichick could have won some of those rings that he won?
Great question. I think he would win one Super Bowl without.
Could Tom Brady win a ring? Could Tom Brady win the same amount of rings as Bill Belichick?
Tom Brady being there that long, if he would have lasted that long, and that's an honest opinion. And
vice versa, you can say the same thing with Tom Brady. What about Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaq, Kobe, Michael? What about them?
Here's another case for me. Tom Brady's there all these years. He don't surround him
Peyton
with all the
Manning.
talent. You bringing guys off the street, making them star. You got Troy Brown playing nickelback, which is a receiver. And not to take nothing from Troy. Troy was awesome. He did a great job. But my point is, you only could do those things with Tom Brady. And you knew that, Bill, and you took advantage of that. And you would suppress other players, hold them back from the...
Also, too, there was a quarterback by the name of Drew Bledsoe, too. Drew Bledsoe played with some of those guys as well. Just a thought.
So whatever the case may be, but you knew you could do that with Tom, but you can't do that now because you have to show that you have to win, be able to win.
And
you
clearly,
can do that
the Patriots did spend the money this offseason. That's for sure, the most that they have.
The first time.
But I just want to.
I'd like to interview on any show I do at least once a week, if you don't mind.
Hey man, let's get it going. We can talk about boxing too. Hey, boxing is 50 wins to get in the Hall of Fame, right?
No, much less than that. Much less.
I'll leave you with this though.
It's a standard.
Okay, so according to his standards, Joe Gibbs is probably arguably the best coach in the game. Y'all let me know your thoughts on that. So, Joe Gibbs, thank you for the clarification, John. I appreciate that. So, I mean, just by him saying that, then this is his standard. Joe Gibbs has won 3 different titles with Washington with 3 different quarterbacks. Thank you. I meant to say quarterbacks, not different teams. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. That's his standard. So, what Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have done in New England, Tom Brady leaving, without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick is nothing. What would Tom Brady have been like? Tom Brady went to a team that had talent. Am I wrong? Come on, man. Also, Zach Ertz, I feel bad for him. I'm really hoping that they do something with him. He needs to just leave Philadelphia. He's got to go. It's got to happen. Because I don't know. I don't really know what's going on with the Eagles. I know they gave Jalen Hurts the starting quarterback situation. Urban Meyer, you kind of opening up some can of worms, bro. The Players Association opened up an investigation after Urban Meyer said that vaccination status was a factor in some of these roster cuts. I was like, wow. Everyone was considered. Meyer said that was part of the considerations as such as production. Let's start talking about this. Is he vaccinated or not? Can I say that's a decision maker? It was certainly a consideration. I don't think that's fair to do those kind of things because a person's not vaccinated. Let's just cut it from the team. Unfortunately, they did come up with the guidelines for the season. Those that are vaccinated, non-vaccinated, what vaccinated, non-vaccinated can do. Listen, it's their choice. Unfortunately, money talks. And It's not just with sports. It's, unfortunately with the jobs we work 9 to 5 jobs every day. Couple people that are quitting. A few people that I know, are quitting their jobs because their job is mandating the vaccine, and they're not comfortable with that. That is absolutely your choice to do what you want. You don't want to work for that company. That's your choice. But when you make that kind of choice, comes the consequence. Again, I'm not telling people what to do. It's your choice. But I'm just saying that for him to use that to say, well, because this player is not vaccinated, oh, let's cut him. I don't like that. That's not cool. The Detroit Lions on their 53-man roster did not include a kicker. Zane Gonzalez did not make the initial roster. No kicker on their team, on their roster, on that training camp made the team. What else is going on? The 49ers, I'm excited to see how they're going to look this year. Everyone's coming back strong and healthy. Everson Griffith got re-signed after being cut by the Vikings. I was a little surprised by that. I'm not sure. Maybe it was just, again, just money. I don't know what it was. Deshaun Watson, they're trying to work something out, and I don't see that really working out at all with Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. Again, that just leaves a bad taste in my mouth from how a guy, you don't hear those things when he's playing for them, but when he wants out, all of a sudden you hear those things. And that something just still doesn't, to me, something just doesn't feel right. I think the way with the rumors about him going to Miami, I feel bad for Tua. Something to me doesn't really fit. Something just smells. The fact that you're that quick to just say, we kind of want to let's try to see if we can get Deshaun Watson. Well, you benched Ryan Fitzpatrick for this guy. You drafted him high, I think it was like the 6th overall pick. So now all of a sudden you're ready to move on. What's the issue? Chris Ballard for the Indianapolis Colts GM, he has consequences for players against that are unvaccinated. He felt as though everyone should get vaccinated. Quote, there are consequences to being vaccinated, Ballard said. Do I think everybody should be vaccinated? Absolutely. I'm for the vaccine. Coach Frank Wright is for the vaccine. We have a lot of guys on our team who are for the vaccine. Is it 100% perfect? No, but it's a good thing. End quote. Quote, it can help you from ending up in a hospital in a critical situation, and it also helps stop some of the spread. And all those are positive things. But for the guys who have chosen not to get vaccinated, they still understand that they're a part of this team and it's their decision. But they're still a part of our team, and they have to take care of the team. Pretty much also in the article, he pretty much said, look, I just want this team to be healthy. And pretty much, I'm paraphrasing it, he's like, if players go down with COVID, that puts us in a sticky situation. Again, it's their choice. I've talked about COVID. I cannot tell you how many times on this channel. It's with sports. It's now become political. Again, it's your choice what you want to do. But I encourage people, just do the research. That's it. Do the research. If we could take our time being on TikTok, doing those dances, all the other buffoonery, that we could be doing research on different things and how to protect ourselves, how to protect others, and just educating ourselves on this stuff. That's all I'm saying. But I hope those guys stay safe. Most important thing is we don't want nobody getting hurt. Nobody getting up in the hospital, on the ventilator. We don't want to see any of that. And I want to see these guys, all 32 teams, stay healthy during the year. So everybody's got to do their part, plain and simple. That's pretty much going so far on the NFL news that I have seen. The Saints and Packers game for Week 1 is going to go. They're going to be playing in Jacksonville due to the damage that Hurricane Ida did in New Orleans. I'm getting flashbacks of what the Superdome looked like during Katrina. Sadly, man. Real quick, we're gonna jump into baseball. We unfortunately lost tonight. It was a great rally, 5-4. I would have liked to have seen us start off getting the first W against an against in the series against our American League East opponents. It did not happen. We got Toronto, and Toronto swept us. No, we got one game out of the series. That's all that matters to me. The most important thing is just get one, man. This team will get to 100 losses before they win 50 games. I'm convinced. It would have been nice to win this rubber matchup, but Steven Matz, Matt Harvey didn't really have a great inning. He didn't have a great game. He only lasted. He pitched 38 times in the bottom of the fourth. My Lord, And then the Oriole, besides Carnacion, Randall Gertrick, every time we play him, I just feel like we're going to lose. The month of September is here. September call-ups. Tyler Wells got called up. Knight got called up. Alexander Wells got called up. I see a couple guys playing for their job next year. Because keep in mind, half these guys you're seeing on this roster, you ain't going to see them next season. One in particular is DJ Stewart. I'm done with him. He has not panned out to what I thought he was going to be. No, this month he's got to prove why he deserves to be on the roster next year. It's just disgusting. It's just absolutely pathetic to really see this team. Like Jorge Mato, like it wouldn't like the way he's come on this year is just wow. But can that transition into next year? I don't know. Again, the only thing I can say the bright spot is our farm system. We're the number one ranked farm system in Major League Baseball. We got Terry Vera from the Colorado Rockies from Michael Gibbons. He's one of our most productive hitters, other than Adley and a few other guys. So I can't wait to see what some of these guys look like in the next couple years. We're probably another year or two away from really contending. Now, I'm going to hold this off, but I really would like to see what Michael Elias is going to do in this offseason. Now that you don't have to worry about Chris Davis's contract. I'm not saying get stars, but we need some veteran leadership on this team. We need some placeholders. Because some of these guys, they just ain't cutting it. They just no. Let me go down to DC. Washington Nationals vice president, the father of Brett Boone and Aaron Boone, Bob Boone resigned because of COVID, the team's new COVID-19 requirement. Nationals cut 8 of our scouts. We cut 8 of our scouts, and 2 have quit because of the vaccination requirements. That's pretty much what's going on right now in the moment. We beat the Phillies 12. No, we lost to the Nationals. Excuse me. We lost to the Phillies 12-6 after a fifth inning where they just had no respect for us. I mean, it started off with Bryce Harper hitting a go-ahead single, Rafael McCarron, Andrew McCutcheon, Brad Miller hit 2-run home runs. Just disgusting. The only thing I could say was Carter Kieboom hit a home run. We're now 7-20 in the month of what we were 7-20 in the month of August. That was the worst month since 2009 when they went 5-16. Patrick Corbin didn't have a great game, and the bullpen was horrendous in the sixth inning. Disgusting. The only thing I can say is Gilberto Shoes definitely doing his thing in Fredericksburg. We signed him back in 2014, and he's doing really good. And that's our single A team. He's only allowed just 12 walks, 43 innings, and 43 innings, and he's had innings to below 200. So definitely doing this thing down in Frederick. I like it. I like it for sure. But my God, it's not looking good in the DMV, y'all. It's not looking good in the DMV. Some baseball news. The great John Smoltz and Al Letter are going to be remotely working from MLB Network because they've also refused the vaccine. Again, you're going to see a lot of this, unfortunately, as, they're going to make it mandatory. You're going to see a lot of that. It wouldn't faze me. What else is going on? Oh, the Mets. The New York Mets. I wanted to talk about the New York Mets real quick. So the New York Mets haven't been doing that well, and they've been struggling. So Javi Baez took some heat for thumbing down the fans because, unfortunately, again, when you play like crap in front of your fans and when you don't play to a certain standard, yeah, you're going to get criticized. Players, I told you, players get all the praise, they get all the glory, all that. But how?
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
I'm looking at the Mets record. They're third. They're 5.5 games out of first place. On paper, this team should be better. I mean, they need to really make some sweeping changes. I'm not talking about on the field, but off the field. I mean, and management. I believe their acting GM just got arrested for DUI. And you have an owner, and Steve Cohen can fix all this. This team is like getting Javier Baez. It's like it's a missing piece to the puzzle. But I understand it because they're frustrated in the way they're performing. Because when you listen, this is just me. You stick by your team through thick and thin. Do we have fans like that? Absolutely. But I blame casual fans for this. Because casual fans, listen, when you're at the top, everybody's cheering for you. Everyone's got the jerseys, everyone's got this, everybody's got that. But when your team is playing like trash and they stink, that's a fact. Look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, for example. I'm just going to use basketball. When LeBron James left, look at them now. They all bandwagon with him to Los Angeles. I believe the Mets will still make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. But come on, man. Now, September call-up is here. For those that don't know what September call-up is, it's pretty much when the roster is now expanded. So pretty much anybody that wants to make the team, they're going to call up probably like a prospect or another player or two. They're pretty much just going to call up several players. Like I don't see Adley Richardson being called up for Baltimore. Honestly, who knows? I could be wrong. But I think it's just for the rosters expand from 26 to 28. So it's just 2 extra spots. That's how it works. So, for example, I'll use the Chicago Cubs, right? So they got 2 extra roster spots. I'll use Wilson Contreras and Aldebert Alzolay, right? So, like, somebody has to get those 2 last roster spots. Now, they have a Rule 5 draft pick, Brandon Little, Ethan Roberts, and Eric Human. Either one of them can make the team. That's my point. So it's just a couple extra roster spots, and just to basically see, what they'll look like. Major League Baseball is proposing to the Players Association to the service time structure. So I guess what I'm understanding in the article that the proposal includes an offer to make player eligible for free agency at 29 and a half years old. It also involved a $1 billion pool for which tied to revenues in future seasons that would be dispersed in an unspecific manner to replace the current arbitration system. So, kind of curious to see that's going to happen because the current CBA expires on December 1st. So that'd be actually interesting to see. Trevor Bauer could actually be suspended for at least 1 year after the sexual assault allegations. A judge denied a restraining order by the woman that is accusing him of sexual assault. This is getting ugly. I'm kind of really curious to see what they're going to do. He's been on administrative leave since July 2nd, Trevor Bauer. So I'm kind of really curious to see where this will go. But, y'all let me know what y'all think for the baseball news so far. I put my banner up for that. Real quick, let me get into basketball. I have a video that I'm going to play at the end of this episode. Couple things. Rajon Rondo's going to the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron's just stacking that team up. Must be nice. He was waived from Memphis. I'd have liked to have seen Rondo. The Wizards go after him. We could have used a veteran point guard. Rondo just brings veteran, point guard, someone to come off the bench and veteran leadership. But just another toy LeBron can have to ring chase. The Memphis Grizzlies are going to retire Zach Randolph and Tony Allen's numbers. Well deserved. It's really sad that those two did not. Those Memphis teams with Mike Conley, Tony Allen, Zebo, Marc Gasol, Rudy Gay. I gotta say his name on it. I would like to really have seen them win a championship. What they did for that city, the grit and grind, and particularly with their style of play, just like San Antonio's, well deserved for both of them. Unvaccinated players in the NBA could potentially not play in their home cities, particularly the Knicks, Warriors, and the Nets. Will be required to be vaccinated, according to this report by Shams Chirenia. And according to the article that I read, it said that the vaccine mandate is not reportedly, it doesn't reportedly apply to visiting teams, but any vaccinated player on those three teams will not be allowed to play in home games unless they have an approved medical or religious exemption. So, again, like I said, hey Lucinda, how are you? Welcome. Anthony Edwards said quote, he told me if I don't let me get to 6'6", I'll be Michael Jordan. Anthony Mitchell pretty much said, he grew an inch taller, and basically saying that if this, I don't know where this, Chris Finch said this. He drew him in the Michael Jordan comparison. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Anthony Edwards is a great player, but I don't think he said that. I think he was just joking around, personally. Anthony Edwards is still a baby in this league, wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac. No. Let's calm that down. Clint Capella re-signed with the Atlanta Hawks just for it was a 2-year extension. Clint Capella definitely did play a role in the Atlanta Hawks getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. He definitely brings he's defensive minded. So again, I think it's a big pickup. I like the re-signing for the Denver Nuggets of Austin Rivers. And then I got to talk about Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons wants out of Philadelphia. I did a video about that with Elliot Tinsley, and I talked about him in a rant I went off about him. In this video I'm going to play at the end. Some people know where those that know me know where I stand on with Ben Simmons. I feel like Ben Simmons coming out of LSU was a great ball player, but I felt like he was overhyped. He never showed me why he was the number 1 overall pick. It just doesn't make any sense that a guy who number 1 overall, $170 million contract extension, you're the second best player behind Joel Embiid. Obviously, your weaknesses showed in this series against Atlanta. Now, the year before, you didn't play, you weren't in the bubble because you were injured. I just want to point this out. LeBron, Kawhi, Paul George, AD, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden have either gone to New York, Los Angeles. Why do I say that? Because Ben Simmons wants to go to a California team. Who's in California? Sacramento, we can take them off the list. Golden State, Los Angeles Clippers, Golden State Warriors, I've already said that, Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know how to feel about that. Now, I look at cities like Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee Bucks are a small market team. I don't know where this narrative that you need to go to a big market team to win a championship. Now, as a small market team, your window to win a championship is small. But Kawhi, Paul George, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, LA or New York, they haven't won a ring. Kyrie Irving won a ring in Cleveland. Kevin Durant won a ring in Golden State. LeBron went to Miami, won a ring. Kawhi won a ring in Toronto and San Antonio. Paul George, Harden, Russell Westbrook haven't won a ring yet. Ben Simmons, to me, hasn't earned that kind of power to go, I want to go to a California team. Exactly. It makes no sense. We're going 5 years into a guy's career. And, I mean, for the California teams, look, the California teams that he wants to go to. I mean, let's keep it real, okay? The series against Atlanta, right? If you're, let's just say Golden State, right? The first thing you want to do when you want, I want to know is his shooting. You know, I've seen all these videos on Twitter, YouTube, other sports websites. I haven't seen that transition to the NBA basketball court. His ability to he is scared to shoot the ball. I mean, you're getting paid $146 million. This is the remaining contract for the next $146.7 million for the next 4 years. Okay. Now, Ben Simmons to me is a power forward. He's not a guard, but according to the way he plays like a guard. He's the fifth highest paid guard in the NBA. Damian Lillard, John Wall, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, and now Ben Simmons, top 5. Now, if you're Philadelphia, you're more than welcome to trade him. Another Shaq. Shaq was different. I'm going to tell you why Shaq was different. Because Alonzo Mourning got more money than Shaq. Orlando was a small market team, and they were willing to pay Penny more than Shaq. They offered Shaq $80 million. He was ready to sign that contract until Alonzo Mourning got his paycheck. And then when Orlando couldn't match that, then that's when Jerry West robbed him and unfortunately destroyed that franchise in Orlando. And Penny Hardaway too. But that's I'm going to get off that soapbox because I still hate Shaq for that. That's okay. But no, I'm just kidding. That Shaq is not responsible for Penny Hardaway's demise. I just think Penny just put too much pressure on himself to win, and it just doesn't work like that. No, but seriously though, with Ben Simmons, 5 years into this man's career, it's getting to the. It's just getting messier and messier. You know, he didn't want to talk. You know, he was surrounded with family. You know, he didn't want to talk to anybody in the organization. Because me personally, I would have sat him down and I'd have said, "Yo, man, listen. When we took you 5 years ago, we looked at you as a missing piece to this puzzle. Sam Hinkie drafted him for a reason. Now, we can have this debate about what defines the number 1 overall pick. Was he drafted because he was great, or the team picked him because the team needed him? I mean, supposedly, if you remember a few years ago, they tried to trade him. They tried to trade him for James Harden. There was going to be him, Matisse Thybulle, and a couple first-round picks. Didn't happen. Then, unfortunately, his performance in the semi-conference finals, that was terrible. Like, we shouldn't be, again, going at this point in a guy's career, going like, bro, like what's the problem? Now, Danny Green did an interview with Howard Beck, and he kind of explained it better than I could. because I think personally a team without Ben Simmons any day is better.
What changes for Danny Green to not have Ben Simmons as the guy orchestrating out there and pushing it on the break and everything, breaking down defense and getting you open threes?
It's going to be tough to say, man, because we don't know where we're going to get back from. We may get a point guard, we may get wings. That may change a lot. I might be playing with a different type of point guard. I might be playing with a different type of wings. I might be coming off the bench. I don't know who we're going to get. And also defensively, I probably become the primary defender. I'm not saying it's an issue or a problem for me, but we have one less wing of a defender with him. Now it's me and Matisse. I'm not saying other guys don't play defense, but you talk about our main defenders. Ben was a big part of that and a big part of our defense. Obviously, Tobias has kicked it up notch and been amazing defensively for us. But Ben was, DPOY for us this year. And my vote, everybody voting our team, of course, we thought he deservingly so should have been Defensive Player of the Year. No disrespect to, Rudy Gobert. He had a great year always, last 3 years. But we thought Ben was able to guard 1 through 5 and set the tone for us. And he's gone. So that changes a lot for not just offensively, but defensively as well for me. It depends on what we get back in return.
So I don't know what they're going to get. I don't know what they could get for Ben Simmons. I feel like, regardless, it's really it's not a win-win for neither team for me, because if I'm going to State and I trade for Ben Simmons, he can't shoot the ball. He's shown that. To be a great player, you don't have to be the Curry brothers. You don't have to be Reggie Miller. Just shoot the ball. I mean, every year I keep hearing it. Ben's been working on his jump shot. I haven't seen that. I damn sure didn't see that against the Hawks. This man passed up a dunk. Being passive aggressive. And already on a team that lacked confidence. I mean, sitting down with a sports psychiatrist, having some intervention, something. I don't know. Maybe he felt like he should be the man in Philadelphia. Maybe he didn't want to be here in the first place. Because I'm telling you, there's certain cities like Philadelphia, New York, Boston. When you play like trash or you don't live up to expectations, those fans will let you know. That's just fact. Now, Joel Embiid had to come out and defend himself, saying that there was an apparent rift. Someone said there was a rift between him and Ben Simmons. Again, I think that's the media pushing those narratives, trying to create headlines for all the wrong reasons. Hendricks was good, bro. What's going on, man? I don't know. But Ben Simmons, I don't care. We got to stop. Ben Simmons is a great player. I hope he gets it together. I think he's just right now. He's just a good player. He's not a great player. And for you to go from here, you got to take the necessary steps to be a great player. And he just does. I haven't seen that in the 5 years he's been in Philadelphia. Ben needed to go. That line didn't work at all. I agree. Thank you, Hendricks. Comment of the day. Thank you. Okay, let me get off Ben Simmons before I break this laptop. I'm going to stick with basketball. I got to talk about my Washington Mystics. Yes, you see the title. They're not going to make the playoffs at this point. We lost by 10 to the Connecticut Sun, who I've been on the record saying that they're going to win the WNBA championship, even though I'm looking at them. Besides them, I'm looking at Minnesota. I'm looking at Seattle, Phoenix. A few months ago, when I did a video on the WNBA's 144, they'll break your laptop. No, because Ben Simmons just frustrates me, man. If he was on my team and he was, I'm gonna get off. Let me leave it alone. Let me leave it alone. Because there have been some furniture moving in that locker room, me personally. But if you told me with the Washington Mystics to get back on track, if you told me the Washington Mystics, Nathan, You know, Deladon's healthy. Emma's on the squad. Maisha's healthy, back from overseas. If you had a healthy Mystic squad, everyone healthy, I would have told you the Mystics are a top 3, top 4 team easily in the league. Deladon hasn't played for well over 2 years since the championship in 2019. Tina Charles didn't play last year because of COVID. She didn't have COVID, but she was because of medical exempt from not playing. Free agency, he signed Alyssa Clark. Alyssa Clark was out for the season for foot surgery. Tiana Hawkins goes to Atlanta. Ariel Powers, we thought she was going to come back, but couldn't make up her mind, so she goes to Minnesota. The Washington Mystics are now 10-16. It would have been a real misunderstanding, Hunter. Yeah, it would have been a real misunderstanding. Listen, he's bigger than me, but listen, I ain't going. They would have the whole team would have to. They would just been. It just been a mess. I'm not. Understand. I'm not encouraging violence. I'm just saying, if I was in the locker room with Ben Simmons and the behavior, that productivity that he showed against the Atlanta Hawks, there would have been an issue. There would have been an issue. I mean, I don't care. Like, no, you're too great of a player to be doing that. You know, to pass up a dunk and be that passive aggressive with passing the ball. No, we don't. No, you're not getting paid $170 million to just be an assist maker. Hey, this is an in between jam. I'm trying to get all the sports in that I can talk about, buddy. I'm trying to be an all around sports podcast as best I can. So, pretty much for the Mystics versus the Suns, the pregame, they just talked about what was still missing. Again, Deladon didn't play. Teenage is out still. I mean, the first quarter, the score was 22-16. Turning the ball over against Connecticut, I don't know why we're turning the ball over like that. It just makes no sense. We had a 12-2 run. Ariel Atkins hit a 3. Maisha Hines-Allen contested 2 over Jonquel Jones. And then Leilani Mitchell, who's now hit 500 career threes. And then Natasha and Maisha, they had back-to-back plays, getting the 12-2 scoring run. But Jonquel Jones had a 21 points in the first half. Absolutely disgusting. And then came the second half. I felt like we did okay. We tried, but Connecticut maintained the lead throughout the third quarter. Then they went on a 17-5 run, and then we got dubbed. We were down by 21, and that was pretty much the game. We have been outscored. I couldn't believe this. It was 261-227 against Connecticut. Your leading scorers for the Mystics was Maisha Hines-Allen, who both had respectively, and Ariel Atkins, who had 16. Shatori Walker-Campbell had 17. Natasha Cloud had 12 assists. But it was the Jonquel Jones show and the Brianna Jones show. Jonquel Jones had 31, and she had double-double, 31 points, 14 rebounds. And Brianna Jones, University of Maryland, had a double-double, 21 points, 10 rebounds. I really don't know what else I can say about the Mystics. You know, it just some of these girls, they're going to have to go. Right now at this time, Jam, I'm not taking any guests at the moment, but you're more than welcome to leave your thoughts in the chat for sure. Where was I? I'm looking at the stand. I'm just looking at some more of this box score. Oh my God. Did we play the Lynx? What's this, Friday? We play them Saturday. We're not going to win that game. We're just not. I don't see it happening. Again, look at the box score for the Mystics. You had two. I mean, again, just this team, this Mystic team. Some of these girls are not going to come back. They're just not. I mean, another game of inconsistencies. 49, practically 50% from the field of Connecticut, 45%. Just pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. The Detroit Shock, yes, I remember the Detroit Shock. We had Swin Cash, and then they moved to Tulsa, which was kind of weird. When they got Skylar Diggins, Odyssey Sims, and then they moved to Dallas. I don't know what that was about, but the Detroit Shock team, they had some good players. They even had Karl Malone's daughter, D4, was on that squad. Am I saying that name right? D4? Hold on, let me make sure I have that right. Because it was her, Cheryl Ford, not D4, Cheryl Ford. Tell me who was on that team with her. Well, obviously I know the great Bill Lambier coached that team. Let's look. Who was on that team? They beat the Connecticut Sun. Well, they swept them 2-0 and then beat the Shock. I think that's the game where Lisa Leslie fouled out. If I'm saying that right. Swin Cash, Ruth Riley. Yeah, they were underdogs in this series, that finals game too. A lot of people don't know that. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? Good to see you. We went from the championship games. The team was great. It was really sad though to see them leave to go to Tulsa and then go to Dallas. Now they're the Dallas Wings. If you didn't know that, Hendricks, they were now they were the Tulsa Shock and then they became the Dallas Wings. I don't know why, but no, seriously, I just don't see the Mystics making the playoffs. I'm looking at the standings. If the playoffs started today, like I said, you have two teams that are about that have subpar 500 records, and the team that has the 8th seed has a winning percentage that's below 400. That's mediocre. Absolutely, Donna Nolan and them, yes, mediocre for the Mystics. I don't see them making the playoffs at all. And the Suns, Aces, Storm, Mercury, they've already clinched the playoffs. They got a playoff spot. Minnesota, if they win, I think they're going to clinch a playoff spot. But the battle for the 7th and the 8th seed, Washington, the Los Angeles Sparks, can make the playoffs. That's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So we play the Minnesota Lynx Saturday. Real quick, let me see what else we got on the remaining of the schedule. Because this season, honestly and truthfully, is a fail. Our last game is on the 19th, so we have after Saturday on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 games left. And that's the end of the season for the Mystics, unfortunately. So let's see what happens against Minnesota. I'm praying for some type of comeback. Real quick, got a couple more topics, then we're going to end. We're going to end the show. Well, actually, before we get into that, I am real quick going to talk about the post game interviews from the Mystics. Bear with me for 1 second. Coach C, talk to me. What happened in this game, man?
I'm happy with how hard we played. I mean, I'm happy with how hard we played. We stayed in the game for a long period of time until we got to about the middle of the third quarter, and then it went south. I mean, they were making shots. We were not. They went on a run. I don't know what the run was. It was long. We tried timeouts and substitutions. And when you're playing shorthanded too, I mean, you're asking a lot of, several players. We had a lot of people playing, 30 minutes tonight. And it's hard. You got her and Shatori and Maisha all had a, pretty good offensive night. Just we don't have a lot else to go with it right now as far as depth. Well, I thought it was great. She got a lot of people involved. She struggled with her own shot, but she got a lot of other people's shots. And she's, again, she's having to guard, DeWanna Bonner, and she does a good job on Bonner. I mean, she holds Bonner to 2 for 12. They kind of negated each other on the offensive end.
They sure did.
But she did a lot of good things to keep people going.
You're talking about Natasha Cloud with the 12 assists. There was another interview with Ariel Atkins and Shatori Walker-Kimbrell. I'll play that interview next.
So, like last game, I was very passive. And offensively, I feel like I was aggressive on defense, but I feel like I was passive on offense. So I knew that I couldn't come to this game with that same mindset. I came in trying to be aggressive, and my teammates told me they need me to be aggressive. So that's kind of what my mindset was, because I'm always trying to get better from each game, how I can help the team, and that was one area that I told myself I need to be better at. But it helps when you have really good teammates that give you confidence, and it's not just a pat on the back, but it's looking you in your eyes and telling you, I need you to do this. I need you to shoot these open shots. I need you to run the floor every single time. And so, when you have Tosh and Ariel and Deladon in your ear telling you they need you to do that, and they have confidence in what I do, it makes it that much easier. It's tough, but at the end of the day, yes, we're shorthanded, but no one feels bad for us. So we can't feel bad for ourselves. We have to figure it out. Every team is facing adversity. We're facing adversity, so we just got to figure it out, just like everyone else. For sure, we definitely show bright spots. Like we're not a bad team at all. Like you look at our roster, and we're pretty good. We're talented. We just got to put it all together. And unfortunately, we don't have much time to, but we'll figure it out. We'll continue to put the work in. We'll continue to watch film. We'll continue to get better each and every day. And I'm positive and confident that we'll get it together.
Real quick, I just got to give a shout out to Brenda Freeze, head coach for the University of Maryland. Guys, I'm Big Nate's podcast assistant manager. Season 3 will start on September 5th. And season 5 will premiere. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I just want to take a quick Brenda Freeze. See, that's as great as a coach she is for the university, for those girls at the University of Maryland. See, that's what, as a player like Shatori, that's what I'm looking for. Those type of things like that. You should see how we got to get better as a team, and we got to figure it out. That's what I'm looking for. I got to give Brenda Freeze a shout out for that. Great, probably one of the best college coaches in the game today.
And then you got stuff that you're dealing with your body, and then thinking too much. And
I got this last interview, and then we'll get into the last couple topics. I'm in the podcast.
Telling me to keep shooting, and regardless if I go 0 for 14, 0 for 10, they constantly tell me, just stay aggressive. And so tonight I feel like I should have been more aggressive for us. I can't take it back, but it felt good to see the ball go in. So think we played hard. We just got some stuff that we got to figure out, and that's tough to be saying with the lesser amount of games that we have left in the season. But it's the reality of where we are. Make my life easier. It makes all of our lives easier. We know what Tori is capable of. That's why she's here. That's why everyone was excited when she was able to get back with us.
Which
Tori
I don't
can shoot
understand
the
why
ball.
she
Tori
was
can score
let she was let go in the
and
first
she can find a way
place.
to get those small
Makes no
extra
sense,
possessions
but
for us on the other end. So for me, it feels good to see her in a flow, to see her comfortable out there on the court, because I know that's something she can do for us night in, night out. I've only played with Tosh, well, I guess for a while now, like 3 years, but it's been fun watching her grow as a human more than anything. But just watching her game evolve has been fun. I think the most fun play this year was against Dallas when she hit a step back three, and the whole team is like, well, the Dallas team is like, nah, it's not going in, and I'm like, she been working. So it feels good to see her shot go in, because I think that's the next step for her as a basketball player and for us as a team. Keep going under if you want to. But did celebrate her, and definitely. Lay's been in the league for a minute. So her veteranship and who she is as a human is very important to this team. And she's impacted me in a ton of different ways that I don't know if she even knows. But she's the type of leader that you can go to for just about anything. So I really am thankful to have her on our team. And I think it's dope that she hit her 500 three-pointer. And it's even crazier that she has said absolutely nothing about it.
I know that was really crazy. She didn't say anything about it. Do you cover only the Eastern Conference or any conference like the SEC? Yeah, Michelle, I'm gonna try to get into college football a little bit. I'm gonna try to get into it as best as I can. I do for basketball. I do talk about the Eastern Conference. I do talk about the Western Conference for the NBA as well. I talk about the NBA overall as a whole. With college, it's kind of like it's not as easy because it's kind of hard to keep up with every game. But I will try my best to keep up with the season as best I can. So I'm gonna get off the Mystics real quick. I gotta talk about Skip Bayless. This is an old topic. This is actually kind of an interesting topic that happened a while ago. So I think everyone knows Skip Bayless. I mean, he's probably one of the biggest TV trolls as a journalist. And this was a couple weeks ago, and he questioned Mike McCarthy's weight, basically saying well, a guy that size is motivating pro athletes, and no, that can't happen. And it was really, Jenny Taft really kind of went on him, and Skip did kind of get embarrassed, but Skip was kind of one of those, no, this is what I can say. So I'm gonna play that clip real quick because again, exactly, Hendrix. It was really, really, really weird. But this is a couple weeks ago. I meant to talk about this, and I kept pushing it back, but I'm glad I had the opportunity to talk about it on the last the last episode for season 2. I apologize if you can't hear the audio.
His motivational speech was the most inspiring, but criticizing his appearance, I don't know if I think that is a fair shot for Mike McCarthy. I'm gonna leave it at that. Chris Broussard.
Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate that.
I don't think it is a fair shot.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's a fair shot.
Is everyone who's a good coach as fit as you, Skip? I don't think that's a fair shot whatsoever.
I wouldn't want. I said it was a personal preference.
I've actually had plenty of coaches that have not had the perfect ideal physique, including my college coach. So I don't think that's a fair shot.
Okay.
And I'm allowed to have an opinion. Skip, I am allowed to say whatever I want to say on this show, as you do too. Chris Broussard will join us. React to Westbrook's comment, and maybe I have more to say.
Yes.
You see what I'm talking about? Like Skip, I'm telling you, man, is the biggest. Oh man, I think that was wrong. To had even made those comments. I mean, regardless, of weight, everybody can't be, skinny. I mean, if you put the work in, sure, but I think the disrespect. I mean, the kind of fat shame Mike McCarthy. I think that's kind of disrespectful. Me personally, he should have just taken it and just moved on because he felt embarrassed, obviously, for it, and mean, you look at his body language. Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons got into a fight. It wouldn't surprise me. But I mean, that body language by Skip, he basically kind of brushed off Jenny, like, man, this is like, no, you just still, you just give us the intro to the topics and just do and be quiet. Like that's what I got from it. But Skip Bayless, like I said, is an ultimate troll. He got what he deserved. She did put him in his place, in my opinion, and he got called up for it. But again, like, this is the same guy that, you know, told Dak Prescott, you know, you're the star of the Dallas Cowboys. What do you have to be depressed about? Just suck it up and play football. I'm basically paraphrasing that. And some other things he has said. And then he tried to backtrack on that. But like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Skip. I'm not. And then also, too, he backtracks and rekindles certain statements he's made, which pisses me off. Real quick, I got to send a congratulations to Max Kellerman. Today was his last, yesterday, as of now, it's now 1 o'clock where I'm at. Yesterday was Max Kellerman's last day on First Take. I can't believe it was 5 years already. 5 years ago, if you told me Max Kellerman, when he had lasted on First Take this long, I'd have told you no. I mean, I'm not the biggest boxing fanatic, but every time Max Kellerman calls a boxing match, I love his input. I love his knowledge of boxing. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, like the last few years, ESPN hasn't been the same. And unfortunately, like I said, politics gets in the way of things. And unfortunately, it just became very uncomfortable. There's certain things they have to talk about because unfortunately, it's seeped into sports. You know, Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor with the WNBA, just so many other things. It has to be talked about. And Stephen A. Smith, you know, again, he wants somebody that he could push around. You know, he was on a radio interview with 90, it was New York radio station. Once it was like 98.0, something like that. Basically defending, like he said, he had nothing to do with that he didn't play. He just basically felt like he doesn't like the fact that he's getting the heat of being cut, of Max being cut from the show. Stephen A. hasn't been on TV because he basically got a surgery for his sleep apnea. So he called in on the show to wish him congratulations. But I was like, but you can be on a radio show talking about the situation with Max. That's neither here nor there. I'm kind of curious to see who Stephen A's new partner is going to be. I guarantee you somebody he's going to push. I get it. Stephen A. I mean, Max is not the, you know, he does have some of the wildest takes. I will agree to that. But I mean, I think the way it's happened, it doesn't really look good. The only reason why I said it because the way how it happened with Stephen A. that's kind of half-assed. If it was real, you would have been on the show with them, and said, "Look, I wish you all but the best." But I wish Max would be on with Keyshawn Johnson and Jay Williams. But Max Kellerman, I think, without First Take is good anyway. That's just my opinion. So I wish Max Kellerman all nothing but the best, and that's probably the sign for me to stop watching First Take and probably watching something else on, so yeah. So with that being said, that concludes episode 15. That concludes season 2 of the podcast. I can't believe we got through 2 seasons already. Season 3 will start on the week of the NFL. Week 1, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I cannot wait. So again, I'm at 90. I cannot believe since I started this podcast, I'm at 90 subscribers. My next goal is to hopefully get to 100, and then 200, 300, 400, and hopefully get to 1,000. Hopefully by the end of the year. So again, if you like the content that you're seeing and you want to see more of it, again, please also continue to share the podcast. Again, I'm all about having conversations. I love talking sports, love talking politics, other things like that. I just want to also just spread positivity, different things like that to each and everybody. You know, amongst this pandemic, we all got to have something to laugh about, something to talk about, get things off our chests, and so on and so forth. But before I end season 2, I'm going to end season 2 off with a video. If Lucinda's still watching, and Hendrix, with Ben Simmons. There's a radio show host that was in Philadelphia that had some more choicer words for Ben Simmons than me. But that being said, I will have this video up Friday on Spotify and Anchor to check out. Again, be sure to leave a like, comment below, consider hitting up subscribe button along with notification bells on. With that being said, I'm out. Peace. Stay up.
Performance in a big game ever. I thought that game 5 was bad. I thought blowing a 26-point lead to that team was bad until I witnessed what happened last night. Until I witnessed the gutless basketball that I saw last night. Pathetic, shrinking in the moment. I have never seen anything like that in that kind of game. Never. They go in Friday night, and then they beat Atlanta and extend the series. That's it. That should have been series over. But instead of coming out with a swagger and blowing that team out of your home city, off your home court, what do? They come in scared and tight. That's how they played. They played scared and they played tight. They were pathetic in a game that mattered. When the lights shone the brightest. And you know, here's the freaking kicker of it all. Is they didn't need to come out and be all bright lights. It was, you know, you're a better team. You come out and you win the game at home. And you exert, and the most mind-boggling thing of this whole epic failure is that they come in the game and Trae Young's got nothing, right? Like, you know, he's 1 for 11 in the first half. He's got nothing. Bogdanovich can't raise his shoulder. He could barely raise his arm to shoot. And you lose? Wow. And so where do we begin? Well, let's start off with the guy that I've defended over and over again, and we have talked about ad nauseum. Let's start there because he's culprit number 1. Ben Simmons costing the series. That's it. You're right. That's it. You want to talk about shrinking violet. The oil painting that was him at the freaking rim in the waning moments of that game. At the rim. Nobody around. And he passed the ball. I apologize. I apologize to every one of you guys that I've ever debated and defended him. Because how can you pass the ball when you're at the rim? You're 6'11", for Christ's sakes. Dunk the ball. In that moment. How in the world can you do that? I am lost. Yo, listen. He can't shoot free throws. All right, whatever. He's not the first guy that somehow has a mental block. You know, can't shoot a jump shot. Well, okay, whatever. But to just run away. And that's what he did. He ran away. It's just unforgivable. And then the coach.
What is incorrect about what he said?
If I play game 1 and 2 and I know I'm not helping my team out, what you think I'm gonna do in game 3? Don't take you 7 games to realize that. I don't want to hear that, man. I'm not going with that.
So what should he have said tonight?
I like what he said, but if you like, you can't say it don't take 7 games for you to know you are not playing right. Get right.
He
Get
can't.
right.
He can't.
You're not getting double teamed. Get right. Be aggressive. That's all I want. Just be aggressive. I don't want to hear all that. Stop that. Cut it out. Cut it out.
The Atlanta Hawks knocking off the Philadelphia 76ers.
He was in my locker room. I would have knocked his ass out.
To 96.
Okay.
You do what?
I ain't laughing. What you mean? What?
He said he was in his locker room. You do what?
I want to hear. First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.